Good morning. Thank you. Welcome everybody to our Martin Luther King Day Assembly. I am Matt McFarland. I'm the principal here at Salk, and this is absolutely one of my favorite days of the year at Salk. When I got to Salk 8 years ago, this didn't exist. We didn't have an assembly for Martin Luther King Day, and 5 years ago, some of our teachers saw the need and came to me and said, we need to do something more. And I agreed, 100%. And I just want to call attention to a couple of people. 5 years ago, we had students enact Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. And 2 of those students are here. I'm going to embarrass them just a little bit because they've been advisors for 4 years. So they've been coming back and helping our students with this speech after being on the first team for 4 years. And that's Mariah and Sophia right there. So what went from not existing at all is now a tradition where students are coming back. It's important enough to them that they want to carry it on and help the younger students have this experience. So I also am excited about it because I know when we gather together, we don't get together as a whole school very often. When we do, it indicates what we value. And this is one of those things we value, ensuring that everybody here at Salk feels welcome. And so thank you, community members, for being here, for braving the cold. I know you'll love it. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our African drum crew.
Thanks everybody, this is our African drumming class. We're going to start with a piece called Siki 20, and this comes from the Ifi people of Ghana. Something to listen for. With African drumming, the rhythms are cyclical, so they keep coming around in a cycle. And as each new part adds in, it creates, as we talk about class all the time, creates something that none of us could do on our own. So the kind of this idea of unity is played out in our music here. This is Siki 20. The next one might connect better with you as an audience being middle schoolers, but this next kind of comes from the Barrow people of all of West Africa. It's called Makru, is the first piece in Yankee, and as was told to me by one of my drumming mentors, who spent a couple of years of his young life living with the people of the Barrow people of West Africa, learning their drumming. At the full moon, the first song starts up. And that's a sort of a call to all the young single people to go to the village square. And then the second one goes, and it's your opportunity to sort of cut a rug and hopefully catch the eye of somebody special that maybe you've been looking for. So I guess maybe you can relate. So Yankee and McCrew. Okay, and I think I'm passing this microphone over to Karen. Is that right? All right, thank you, everybody.
Shonda Blunt is an active leader in the Spokane community and beyond. She is the community and marketing representative for WellPoint, formerly known as AmeriGroup. In this position, Ms. Blunt develops relationships with industries, government partners, and local media in several counties, including Spokane, Adams, Barry, Lincoln, Stevens, and Pend Oreille. She prepares a variety of public materials, including news releases, company stories, fact sheets, speeches, and social media content for community partners and local businesses. Ms. Blunt graduated summa cum laude from Gonzaga University with a bachelor's degree in psychology with a concentration in forensics. In addition, she is currently working on a master's degree in forensic psychology. Throughout her collegiate career, she has been on the Dean's List, the President's List, and received numerous awards. In addition, she is a certified community health worker. Ms. Blunt is married and has 4 adult children. She loves shopping, cooking, and traveling. She is very active in the Spokane community, always looking for ways to help others. So why don't we give a warm welcome to Ms. Shonda Blunt.
Okay, everybody can go home now, so it's a warm welcome. So I'm going to start my slideshow going backwards, but you don't have to go to that slide. I'm just going to start there. So again, my name is Yoshunda Lynette Thompson DeMorin Blunt. That's a lot, but I've been called Shonda since I was a child, so that's just kind of stuck over the years. So I think this is an amazing program, but I think how I've embodied the dreams of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by being mindful of how I engage with and treat others. I believe in giving all people what they need to be successful. For me, in the work that I do, that is by giving people the tools to be able to advocate for themselves. I love passing on the knowledge that I have so that knowledge can continue to be passed on to help even more people. I am so thankful and so grateful to be called a child of God, a wife, a mother, a friend, and a leader. I have been afforded so many opportunities in my life. Some not so easy, but like Dr. King, I persevered. I didn't let anyone tell me no. Instead of being invited to the table, I bought my own table and chairs. Those are just a few things on how I feel Dr. King's dreams are my dreams. So we're going to start from the first slide, which is already up there. So the next one is I found this picture of Dr. King in the back of his head. And you ever have your friends say, you don't see what I see, you can't see what I can see. But through the lens from behind him, you can see his perception, his view of what he's trying to convey. So sometimes we don't always understand what someone's going through, but we can always sometimes get behind them and see what they see. So next slide. I want to say, Assalamu alaikum. I want to say, that's what I want to say. Okay, me and technology, we just don't get along. Okay, let's pause for pause. Let's say welcome, hello, bienvenido, bonjour, konnichiwa, what's up, wagwan, privet, and namaste. Those are just all a few ways to say welcome or hello. So I want to say hello, everyone. I am delighted to see so many new faces and some familiar faces in the audience today. I am so humbled and filled with deep gratitude to be invited to speak to you. It is my complete pleasure to share a bit of myself and share with you about such an amazing hero and dreamer, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lived from 1929 until he was assassinated in 1968. He was the leader of the civil rights movement across the United States from the 1950s to the 1960s. He embodied a non-violent approach to political activism as well as social reform. This was characterized by the large marches and gatherings he cultivated, which were designed to demonstrate the acceptance of current civil rights as well as the barbarism of those people that opposed civil rights. So guess what? Didn't everybody think that he was doing the right thing? People thought he didn't have the mindset to orchestrate civil change, social change, and a lot of people put a stop to that. So they didn't want that. So that was in stark contrast to confrontational methods that were shown by others. So today, some of the speeches written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. are considered landmarks for the civil rights movement. Next slide, please. So how many of you want to go deep? No, this is not a classroom. Yes, this is assembly, but I want to get right into the heart of the matter of what's happening in here. So where do dreams come from? Dreams come from deep inside the temporal lobe of the brain. And if there are any science teachers in here, please correct me, but I tried to do my research. So the hippocampus has the most important role in our ability to remember, imagine, and dream. Our most vivid dreams come from us replicating reality, combining objects, and turning actions and perceptions into very detailed yet hallucinatory experiences. So some doctors and experts think that even when you're dreaming, it almost has the effect of taking a drug. So I'm gonna pick on my husband since he's here, but don't look at him because he's sitting right over there, and I don't want to talk about him in his face. But he is an avid dreamer. I mean, dude is in there punching and then paying. So our nights at about 3 a.m., they get a little crazy. So he sings in his dreams, he talks. He just doesn't get up and walk. So, you know, I don't keep locks on the door. So I'm sorry, baby. Love you. So what part is responsible? So the cortex is responsible for the content of our dreams. It's where the monsters that we flee from live, people we meet, or when we are experiencing a sense of flying. Since we are highly visual creatures, so which means we have to kind of see to believe things, it is the visual cortex, which is right at the back of the brain, is very active, but so is the rest of the brain. Next slide, please. So I need you all's help. On the count of 3, I want you to say, did you know? 1, 2, 3. Did you know? Yes! That's amazing! So did you know, we're going to have pops of these throughout my rest of my slideshow, so that's what I want you to do. So did you know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. went to college at the age of 15? He was skipped up 2 grades and was admitted into Morehouse College, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia, in 1944, and graduated in 1948 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology at the tender young age of 19. Talk about a dream. Amazing. So imagine some of you all maybe close to 15, being on a college campus, taking college courses with kids that are 5, 10 years older than you. So he kept his focus, he kept his drive, he kept his perseverance, and he did it. So next slide, please. So how many of you heard that dreams are just for dreamers? That people just sit around and dream, they don't take any action, you're not supposed to dream, you're not supposed to think that way. But dreams can help us regulate our emotions and memories. Dreams can also help inspire creativity, self-knowledge, and also increase problem-solving skills. Chasing your dreams is imperative. An imperative means super, super, super important to a fulfilling life and having a life that is saturated with purpose. So think of saturation. You stand out in the rain, you get saturated with water. Think of saturation of being just embodied with something. So that's how important chasing your dreams are. So somebody says, oh my God, your dreams, they don't mean anything. They do mean something. They mean something to you, okay? So when pursuing your dreams, it can assist you with finding your true calling, develop new skills, and live a life with no regrets. Because if you have a dream to, say, be an architect, and 6 months later you don't do that, guess what? You learn some things about architecture. If you say, I want to be a doctor, you did a year, and now you know how to draw blood. So there are many, many, many different avenues that you can take, but you can live that life with no regrets. Chasing your dreams creates a limitless amount of possibilities. So limitless is whatever you dream, you can take the steps to achieve it. So next slide, please. All right. No. 1, 2, 3.
Did you know?
There we go. Okay. Did you know Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested 29 times, yet he followed his dreams. He still followed his dreams. Next slide, please. So I came up with a little acronym for the word dream, and so I'm going to start with D, and so D is for direction. When it comes to a dream, there has to be direction. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, and with that dream came one of the greatest speeches ever in American history, the I Have a Dream speech. The main point of that speech was to tell of the dream that he had for America, that our country would truly stand on the idea that all people are created equal, that we all have equal rights regardless of the color of our skin, that we all are able to dream, have freedom and justice. R is for represent. Dr. King represented leadership, teaching, and was a voice for the voiceless. That's how I feel in my work, because there are people that I deal with that are homeless, some people that are living in shelters. I deal with single moms, single dads. I deal with teens such as yourself who are not with their family. And it's sometimes hard. It's really hard. And so I get to advocate for them. I get to speak for them. I get to, I get to be my New Yorker self, and I get to be a little loud. I get to make a little noise, and I get to sometimes allow their dreams to live through me until they get to where they want to be at in life. So he spoke out against racial injustice and inequality during the time when Black people were seen, and still are, as less than their white counterparts. E is for expectation. Now I know your teachers, your leaders, and yourself have certain expectations for yourself. You always say, oh my God, sit up straight. Sit up straight, sit up straight. Don't slouch. Stand over there. Go over there. Do your homework. It's due. You got an A. No, I want you to A+. There's so many expectations put on you all. You know what? The drum circle was amazing, but how much practice did they put into that? Your performance team is going to come perform. How much time did they put into that? So there's a level of expectation from all of us. You all are expecting something from me. I don't know what it is yet, but you all are expecting something from me today, but that's prayerfully my expectation is you all be here with something that I'm giving you today. So Dr. King had an expectation that each of us, regardless of the color of our skin, gender, ethnicity, sexual identity, or social economic means, has a claim to be treated with dignity. It should not matter where you come from, what you look like, what your hair looks like, what you're wearing, what kind of shoes. It's all about respect, and it's about dignity. It does not matter. Trust and believe, it does not matter. Next slide. A is for ambition. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. used his ambition as a driving force to reach his goals. He was persistent and did not give up, even when things were not or did not go his way. Dr. King took defeats in stride and always strived for greatness in everything he set out to do. And the M is for mind or Martin. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was bold and felt a strong sense of urgency to challenge unjust laws and the terrible treatment of Black people during the Civil Rights Movement. The urgency of Dr. King displayed prompted him and those around him that he surrounded himself with to lead and to take action. There is no one just like him. However, sitting in this room, you all can be moved by him, his words, his actions, and his behaviors to dream. Okay, come on. 1, 2, 3.
Did you know?
Okay, there's a lot more of you in here. I want that last one to be super loud. 1, 2, 3.
Did you know?
Yes, I love it. On September 20th, 1928, did you know Dr. King was in a department store called Bloomstein's, which was located in Harlem, New York. And I told you I'm from New York. Harlem was real sketch. Like you couldn't stop at a stop sign without your tires being gone. People were running light, it was awful. Harlem was a rough place. It's a lot better now, but Harlem was a rough place. Anyway, a young woman by the name of Isola Ware Curry slipped past a growing line of people that wanted to see Dr. King and asked him, "Is that really you?" And he told her yes. She then thrust a 7-inch letter opener into his chest. This was actually the first time it was attempted, his assassination. She stated she had been looking for him for 5 years, believing he had ties to the Communist Party. Dr. King was in surgery for hours, but the stab wound missed his heart. After he recovered, he issued a statement standing on his non-violent beliefs, stating he harbored no malicious feelings toward Isola Ware Curry. Amazing human right there. So I'm going to wrap this up. I've got one more slide after this one. But Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an icon of the civil rights movement, leading Black people in the fight to end racial segregation. He was a charismatic leader who had a huge influence on his group of followers who believed him during his determination, self-confidence, verbal skills, tenacity, and big dreams. The respect and consideration he had with his followers made him very popular, and his attitude inspired millions of people in the fight for equality and rights during the 20th century. Focusing on task performance, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. influenced his followers even from inside his jail cell in Birmingham, applying the supportive and achievement-oriented leadership style, writing letters, and motivating them to continue to follow his philosophy and fight and protest in a non-violent way. He was and is what dreams are made of. Let me get a 1, 2, 3 dreams. 1, 2, 3.
Dreams.
1, 2, 3.
Dreams.
1, 2, 3.
Dreams.
Yes. So I'm going to part with you several quotes. And I want to say thank you to a special friend of mine. Her name is Geneva, who started this ball rolling. So I'm so appreciative. Thank her for thinking of me in this way. But I want to say a special thank you to Michelle for inviting me to come and speak with you all today. I pray that you all take a little something away with you in the things that I've shared with you about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe it's some things you did know, and maybe it's some things you didn't know, but even if you knew it all, still take away that, even at my age, pursuing a master's degree, that dreams can come true. So the first quote I want to leave you with is I have a dream to be free at last, free at last, free at last. The second quote I want to leave with you today is this: I say to you today, my friends, that in spite of the difficulties and frustrations of the moment, that could be you sitting here listening to me, that could be if you're struggling with anxiety and depression, that could be you're not feeling well today, that could mean you really don't want to be in assembly, but guess what, you're here anyway. There's nothing by chance. It's always a reason why you're here today. And if I'm able to leave you with anything, my friends, is I still have a dream. The third one is faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. And the last final quote I want to impart with you today is intelligence. Say intelligence. Intelligence. Say intelligence. Intelligence. Say intelligence. Intelligence. Okay, don't you all say that. Drum circle, say intelligence. I'm over here drumming. I'm here. And say intelligence. Okay, there we go. Let's get this side. Say intelligence. Intelligence. Little louder. Intelligence. All together. 1, 2, 3. Intelligence. I love it. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. So be thankful for your leaders, be thankful for your parents, be thankful for those that support you, even when you don't want to hear it. I promise you. Maybe one day you'll be up here, standing here talking to someone else younger than you and pursuing dreams, okay? So I want to thank my family too for supporting me. My husband, he got off at 2 o'clock this morning from GU, and he was like, I'm coming. Bless his heart. So, and I want to thank my daughter, Makaya, for coming. She's a case manager at Excelsior. She works with youth as well. I want to thank Brittany, who's a therapist, and I want to thank my oldest daughter, who's an MA for an ortho doctor. So I want to thank them for being special and highlight and allowing me to continue to dream. One last time, dream. 1, 2, 3. Dream! Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I want to extend a very special thank you to Ms. Shonda Blunt for giving her time, her effort, her energy, her inspiration, and sharing part of her dream to inspire all of you to dream. One more big round of applause for Shonda Blunt.
There's a light in the darkness. Overnight is black as my skin. There's a light burning bright, showing the way. But I know where I've been. There's a cry in the distance. It's the voice that comes from deep within. There's a cry asking why. I pray the answers up ahead. Yeah. 'Cause I know where I've been. There's a road we've been traveling, lost so many on the way, but the riches
We have one more very special thing for you, and I'm going to introduce it in just a moment. But before I do that, I'd like you all just to see the slide behind me. Our group here and many others will be attending the Unity March and Rally on Monday, and we would like to extend an invitation to the entire student body. If any of you would like to join with us and go to the rally and go on the march, it's going to be a cold one. But these are the things that dreams are made of. When you actually put action to what you believe. So I'd like to extend that invitation. As you can see, we have a meeting spot together. Does anybody know where the Michael Anderson statue is? Raise your hand if you've ever seen it. Downtown. Yep, lots of hands are going up. It's right in between the convention center and the water. Michael Anderson has a statue because he was the first African American to go to space. And he is a graduate of Cheney High School. He's local, right around here. And his statue to commemorate his life and his accomplishments is the place that we're going to be. So we would love to have all of you. On August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. Today, on January 12, 2024, over 60 years later, Salk Middle School students will give this same speech in front of all of you. MLK delivered his speech to an estimated 250,000 people who came to Washington, D.C. Today, our students will deliver this speech to 625 middle schoolers and countless community members here in Spokane, Washington. The people who came to listen to the speech were of all different races, and they marched together to promote civil rights. It is my hope today that this diverse student body will also come together in unity to continue to promote civil rights in our school, in our community, and in our city. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the people who listened to his speech stood for freedom, equality, peaceful protest, and nonviolence for all, and they wanted their voices to be heard. And today, I believe that Salk Middle School students who hear this speech, given again by their peers, will also choose to stand for freedom, equality, peaceful protest, and nonviolence in their words and in their actions. The students that are about to deliver Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech have dedicated a great deal of time learning the speech, understanding its meaning, and practicing after school for the last month. It is with great pleasure that I introduce these students.
I am happy to join with you today, what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
50 years ago, the great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand in signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to the end of a long night of captivity.
But 100 years later, the Negro is still not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society. So we have come here today to dramatize a shameful condition.
In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cast our flag. When our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to follow.
This note is a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, will be guaranteed the unalienable the rights of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness.
It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note. Insofar as their citizens of color are concerned, instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check. A check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great fields of opportunity of this nation. So we have come to cast this check. A check that will give us, upon demand, the riches of freedom and the security of justice.
We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is time to make justice a reality for all of God's children.
It would be fatal for the nation to overlook their conceivable. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro needs to gloss, steam, and now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual.
There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges.
But there was something I must say to my people who stand the warm threshold that is in Christ's justice. In the process of gaining all rightful place, you must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy all thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must conduct all struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow all creative protest to degenerate to physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to majestic heights of being physical force with full force.
The marvelous abilities which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. And they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone.
And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking, the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied?
We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality.
We will never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the cities.
We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negroes' basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one.
We will never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for whites only.
We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro in Mississippi cannot vote, and the Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote.
No, we're not satisfied and will not be satisfied until justice goes down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
I am no not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive.
Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to slums and ghettos over northern cities, and that somehow the situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair.
I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted into the American dream.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live at the true meaning of its truth. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are free people.
I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, a state sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice.
I have a dream that one day my four little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I have a dream that down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, that one day, right down in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls. As sisters and brothers, I have a dream today.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain be low, that every rough place shall be made plain, every crooked place shall be made straight, and that the glory of the Lord shall be revealed for all flesh to see together.
This is our hope. This is the faith that I will go back to the sun. And with this faith, we will be able to view out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of hope.
With this faith, we'll be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that one day we'll be free.
This will be the day when all of God's children will listen with new meaning. My country 'tis a key, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where our fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
And if America is to become a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the high Alleghenies of Pennsylvania.
Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from the Lookout Mountain of Tennessee.
Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring.
And when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village, every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual.
Free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
I have to take deep breaths. I always get choked up at that part. Another round of these guys. That's amazing. I know the adults can appreciate, I want the students to appreciate how hard that is to stand in front of your peers when you're in middle school and perform something like that. It's really amazing. Nice job. I also want to thank Ms. Blunt. That was amazing. Can we get another round of applause? And then finally, all the people who helped put this together, the advisors of this crew, Mr. Retta, Ms. Brown, Ms. Applebaum, Ms. Piper, Mr. Trechter's class, and Mr. Trechter for videotaping, Mr. McMurtry and his band. I'm sure I'm forgetting others, but let's get a round of applause for them. We want to give our guests here the chance to exit before we all head back to class. So students, if you could hang tight. Thank you very much for coming.